Hi, and welcome to Week 8 of the Diabetes Education Program. I hope you and your family member are able to listen to this recording. We only have 2 more weeks of class after this. I encourage you to get back with your educator and do your last 2 classes on your Zoom class schedule. My name is Connie Horton. I'm a registered nurse and a certified diabetes care and education specialist. I am here today to go over Week 8 information that you missed in your class. I hope that you and the family member who has been joining you in class are able to listen to this recording this week before Week 9 session starts next week. I hope you are working towards your goals that you discussed in Week 7, and you will discuss them again the last session of this education process. We only have 2 more weeks left. I encourage you to do those last 2 weeks in your Zoom class with your educator. Once again, my name is Connie Horton. I have been a diabetes educator for about 25 years, and I have also had diabetes for about 47 years. That's just to give you a little background of me if you're not in one of my classes. So let's get ready to start. Week 8 information, we will be going over heart health, which includes blood pressure, tobacco use, eating healthy, physical activity, weight loss, and we will also talk about diabetes and alcohol and when life gets in the way. There is a strong link between uncontrolled diabetes and heart disease. High blood glucose levels can damage blood vessels and nerves that control heart and blood vessels. Other risk factors include, besides diabetes, a family history of heart disease, high blood pressure, tobacco use, and being overweight. Some of these can be changed. Those that can be changed may be our high blood pressure. Tobacco use can be changed by stopping smoking, and being overweight can be changed by losing weight. Improvements in these risk factors reduces your risk of heart disease. This slide shows tips for protecting your heart. Also on page 77 has some of these tips as well. First one is do not smoke or use tobacco products. That's what the cigarette with the line through it at the top of the slide is representing. Also, eating healthy. That's what the heart with all the fruits and vegetables in it represents. Losing 5 to 10% of your body weight. That's the picture of the scales. Being more physically active. That's the picture of the heart with the running shoes. Limiting alcohol intake. That's the picture of the bottle of alcohol in the glass. Managing blood pressure. That's a picture of the heart with part of the blood pressure cuff running through that heart. Taking medications for your diabetes and blood pressure can also be a way of protecting your heart. That's the medicine bottle that's pictured there. Getting enough sleep is also important, which is the guy laying in the bed. And then balancing your stress is the lady above the guy in the bed who has so many things going on, she's having a hard time. On page 77 in your book also lists some medications that can protect your heart that include statins, which help with cholesterol, ACE inhibitors, which help protect the kidneys, and aspirin, which prevents heart attacks. Not all patients with diabetes need these additional medications. Talk with your healthcare provider to find out if you're a candidate for these additional medications. In fact, for those who are working on improving their risk with not using tobacco, controlling their blood pressure, and being a healthy weight, show a lower number of heart attacks and stroke as those not working toward better management. On page 76 in your book, you will see this graph that is on our slide. In the graph, you see a purple area. The purple area is people who are not working toward better management. The green bar represents people working toward better management. So, what we notice, the more you are working toward better management, you are at lower risk of having events related to heart disease. You're also lower chance of events happening related to stroke. So if you're working toward better management, for heart attacks, there's more events occur about 7. And then if you're not working toward better management, and then that number increases up to 35. If you're not working toward better management, the number for strokes is about 30 events, whereas the number for strokes, if you are working toward better management, is only about 5 events. Let's talk about blood pressure and heart health. On page 78, there's information about blood pressure and heart health. The top number is called the systolic blood pressure. It measures the pressure in your blood vessels when your heart beats. The bottom number is the diastolic blood pressure. It measures the pressure in your blood vessels between heartbeats or while your heart is resting. If either of the numbers are above goal range, then your risk for heart disease is increased. Do you check your blood pressure at home? Normal blood pressure is 120/80, or 120 systolic and 80 diastolic. Goal blood pressure for a person with diabetes is less than 140/90, which would be 140 systolic and 90 diastolic. You should talk with your provider when you meet with them about your individual blood pressure goals. Let's talk about tobacco use. In your packet, you have a thing that says, know the facts. Tobacco use and heart health on one side, and tobacco use and diabetes on the other side. Smoking, of course, increases the risk of heart disease. It narrows blood vessels, which decreases blood flow to your legs and to your heart. If you have less blood flow to your legs, this increases your risk of amputations. And if you have blood flow decreased to your heart, this is going to increase your risk of heart attacks. If you look at your information on Know the Facts, Tobacco Use, and Diabetes, you see diabetes is a major cause of heart attacks, kidney failure, blindness, and lower limb loss. Smoking increases your risk of even developing diabetes by 30 to 40%. And smokers with diabetes have a higher risk of heart and kidney disease. People with diabetes who quit smoking have better control of their blood sugar levels. And on the other side, talks about tobacco use and heart health, and how tobacco raises your risk of heart attacks, strokes, and heart failure. Even when you quit smoking, one day after quitting, your heart rate and blood pressure drop. A year later, your risk of heart disease is cut in half, and 5 to 15 years later, your risk of stroke is the same as someone who has never smoked. Also remember that secondhand smoke raises risk of heart disease by 25 to 30%. So not only is the tobacco affecting you, it's affecting others. Breathing secondhand smoke can also be a cause of heart disease, including heart attacks and stroke. I encourage you to quit smoking. Quitting smoking can be one of the most difficult things you do, but it is the best thing you can do for your overall health. It often takes several attempts at stopping to be successful. If you've tried it in the past and resumed smoking, I would encourage you to keep on trying. And if you are smoking currently, I strongly advise you to stop and seek assistance from your healthcare provider or call the number on this slide. It is also on the pamphlet, How to Quit. Be Well Arkansas can help you quit. If you're thinking about quitting, our wellness counselors can help you. Call 833-283-WELL. On page 81 in your book, also lists different things you can do to help you stop smoking. Eating for better health is also important in our heart health. If you'll turn to page 82 in your book, you'll see information about this as well. There are 2 major goals in eating for better health: glucose control and overall health, which includes protecting your heart. Things such as fish are good things that help protect your heart because they have omega-3s, which are good for your heart. Also, we want to choose foods that are high in fiber, like our fruits, vegetables, nuts, and whole grains. On packaged items, if you will look for the label that says 100% whole grain on it, those foods are definitely more healthy. We also want to limit sugar for people who are at risk for heart disease. Remember that it is recommended that 9 teaspoons of sugar are recommended per day for men and 6 teaspoons per day for women. A soda has 8 teaspoons of sugar in a 12-ounce can of soda. So, that is over the limit for women and almost to the limit for men. On the next slide shows fats and eating for better health and choosing the right fats. There are 3 types of fat. Unsaturated fat come mainly from plants that promote heart health and include the things listed on this slide under the green arrow. Almonds, pumpkin seeds, those kind of nuts, avocados, olive oil, olives, nut butters, and fish such as salmon. Then there are saturated fats that actually come from animals. We want to limit saturated fats and replace them with unsaturated fats. That's why the arrow under the saturated fats is yellow, wanting to limit these fats. That would be things such as the bacon, the butter, the cream, cheese, sour cream, or lard. And then we have trans fats, which are unhealthy for your heart and you should avoid. And that's why these have the red arrow on them. These things are fried foods such as onion rings, French fries, margarine, bakery items, and things that have partially hydrogenated oils in them. Let's talk about sodium or salt a little bit. Too much sodium can lead to high blood pressure. We should limit our salt intake to less than 2,300 milligrams a day or a teaspoon a day of salt. We also want to limit to less than 1,500 milligrams per day if you have elevated blood pressure as well. Items that have less salt include fresh or frozen fruit, fresh or frozen vegetables with no sauce, fresh meat, fish, and poultry, homemade soups, and homemade meals. Things with more salt include salty snack foods, canned vegetables, lunch meats, bacon, sausage, canned soup, dried soup mix, and frozen meals. In general, the more processed the foods, the greater the amount of salt. You'll also find that dining out increases your overall salt intake. This is another great reason to eat at home more. It will take your taste buds generally about 2 weeks to get used to eating less salt. But give it time and you will adjust. Next, we're going to look at the food label. In your handouts, you should find the food label that is in the handouts. It's called Using the Nutrition Facts Label. We're going to look at this label for sugar, salts, and fats, review the serving size, added sugars, total carbohydrates, ingredient list, and sodium. There's also another label on page 39 in your book. So let's start at the top of the food label. Serving size is the first thing listed. It's highlighted in blue on your handout. It says serving size is 2/3 a cup and there are 8 servings per container. This is really not a recommendation on how much to eat or drink. One package may contain more than 1 serving. Just remember that 1 serving is what the nutritional food information in the label is based on. The next thing you see is calories. Calories are a measure of how much energy you get from eating a serving of a food. Consuming too many calories is linked to overweight and obesity. Calorie needs vary by sex, height, weight, and physical activity level. This item has 230 calories in a 2/3 cup serving. And there are 8 servings per the container. We also have percent of daily value, which is highlighted in pink. You can use this number to determine if a product is high or low in certain nutrients. 5% or less is low, 20% or more is high. And the percent of daily value is based on a general 2,000 calorie diet. So if I'm looking at this label, your saturated fat has 5% of the daily value, so that number is low. So this isn't a bad for you fat, but maybe a good fat in this item. Added sugars is 10 grams, and it's at 20%. So it is high in the added sugar category. So this may not be the best choice for you for your blood glucose levels. Another thing you will notice is iron is at 45%. So this is a good source of iron because it is at 45%. The next thing we want to look at a little bit is the nutrient breakdown. You should choose products high in the nutrients you want more of and low in the nutrients you want less of. Nutrients that we want less of are going to be saturated fat, sodium, and added sugars. Nutrients we want to get more of are dietary fiber, vitamin D, calcium, iron, and potassium. So when looking at this label, we can see down at the bottom that vitamin D has 2 micrograms, calcium 260 milligrams, iron 8 milligrams, and potassium 235 milligrams. And I know we're getting lots of iron like I mentioned before. Calcium, this is also a pretty good source of calcium here. I mentioned your saturated fat is low, which is good. Sodium is also pretty low at 160 milligrams. And the added sugars is pretty high at 10 grams of added sugar. Many labels also include a list of ingredients in order by weight, with the most common one listed first. Down at the bottom underneath the square where the nutrition facts are is usually the ingredient list. The closer an item is to the beginning of the list, the more there is in the product. Added sugars include corn syrup, sucrose, and fructose. For more fiber, choose products with the whole grain as one of the first or second ingredients. And always include items with the most ingredients that you recognize. Hopefully, a food label can help you when choosing what you want to eat and portion sizes. Now let's talk about diets a little bit that can help with weight loss, which can help with determining your risk for heart health, because by losing weight, you become less likely of having heart attacks and strokes. Many diets can promote heart health. The Mediterranean diet is one that promotes health. It involves being physically active and mindful eating. Healthy grains, fruits, vegetables, fish twice a week with moderate portions of poultry, eggs, cheese, and yogurt. And when I say yogurt, I mean Greek yogurt, not the sugary breakfast yogurt. Also refer to my food plan pamphlet. If you look at the My Food Plan pamphlet, it shows portion sizes and the different types of foods that are good for you. Looking at it a little more closely, let's start at the base of the pyramid on the slide. You'll find emphasis is on activity and social connections. Moving upward, you'll see the core foods that you'll shop for and enjoy every day. The next level has whole grains, fruits, vegetables, beans, herbs, spices, nuts, and healthy fats such as olive oil. The next level up has fish and seafood and are recommended to eat at least twice a week, and also includes some dairy foods, especially fermented dairy like yogurt and traditional cheese. And these should be eaten frequently in moderate portions. Eggs and occasional poultry are also part of the Mediterranean diet, but red meat and sweets are rarely eaten, which is at the top of the pyramid here. Again, you can look at the pamphlet that you received for My Food Plan. We had it in another class and went through it in more detail for more information on serving sizes for the food you're going to eat. Let's look at page 88 in your book. On page 88 in your book, there are 3 meals that are listed. The first meal has whole grain pita, filled with spinach, cucumbers, tomatoes, bell peppers, onions, feta cheese, hummus, and parsley, sliced apple, and yogurt. Meal 2 has grilled chicken breasts, whole wheat pasta with olive oil, garlic, and pine nuts, and roasted vegetables. And Meal 3 has a grilled tuna melt sandwich, potato chips, chopped iceberg salad with bacon bits and ranch dressing. Which meals are better for your heart? Remember, there can be more than one as the right answer. Let's talk about each and why each is healthy versus unhealthy or less healthy. So Meal 1 and Meal 2 are the choices you should have picked. Meal 1 has your whole grain pita, which is better than a regular pita. It also was very colorful and had lots of vegetables with spinach, cucumbers, tomatoes, bell pepper, onion. Also had some healthy fats when it comes to proteins such as your feta cheese and hummus. It also had parsley as a vegetable. Your sliced apple is a fruit, and your yogurt is also a good source of calcium. Meal 2, which is a grilled chicken breast. The grilled chicken breast is better for you than a fried chicken breast. Whole wheat pasta is better than regular pasta, and using an olive oil and garlic and pine nut sauce is better than using an Alfredo or a high-fat creamy sauce. And roasted vegetables are always good to have in a meal to give it color. Meal 3 is our least healthy meal, and it's due to having a grilled tuna melt sandwich. It would be better to use like a whole grain bread and maybe just having a tuna sandwich without having to have extra butter on the bread to make it crunchy. Also, a lot of mayonnaise is a lot of times in tuna salad, and by just eating plain tuna, you're getting less fat that way. How about subbing some vegetables for the chips? That might be a good choice as well. And maybe a different dressing for the salad. Maybe a olive oil and vinegar type dressing instead of ranch dressing. These are things that can be done to make Meal 3 a little more healthy. Let's talk about alcohol and diabetes. People with diabetes can safely drink alcohol in moderation, but need to be aware of several concerns and guidelines. Drinking can increase your risk of low blood sugar if you're taking sulfonylureas or insulin. It prevents your liver from producing sugar. Eating a meal with your alcohol is important as well to prevent those low blood sugars. Remember, you should limit servings to 1 serving for women and 2 servings for men per day. A serving size is like 12 ounces of beer, 5 ounces of wine, or 1.5 ounces of distilled spirit. There is risk of other health problems with consuming more than recommended alcohol amounts, such as DKA with SGLT2 inhibitors and lactic acid with metformin. There are other options you could do instead of alcohol, such as diet cranberry juice with some sparkling water or maybe flavored waters. Also, alcohol can lead to weight gain and non-nutritive calories, which makes you gain weight. On page 126 in your book, remember, is the area that lists the different types of medications of diabetes, and if you're not familiar with your kind and how they relate to alcohol, you can look them up in your book. On page 126, I believe it goes through 131, is the list of medications. Let's talk about physical activity and heart health now. Physical activity that increases your heart rate promotes heart health and overall health. Physical activity should be part of your care plan. Benefits may include strengthening heart and bones, improving blood circulation, relieving stress, lowering blood pressure, losing weight, and keeping your immune system healthy. Aerobic activities is what strengthens the heart. It uses large muscle groups and is steady, rhythmic for continuous 20 to 30 minutes. Some activities that increase heart rate might be brisk walking, swimming, biking, or dancing. And of course, strength training is important when it comes to building muscle and bone strength. People ask, how hard should I exercise? If you can whistle while you're exercising, you probably need to pick up the pace. But if you can't talk at all, you would need to slow down. But if you're carrying on a full conversation and exercising, you probably need to pick up the pace as well. Hopefully you have increased your physical activity during the time that you've been taking the diabetes education class. I encourage you to look at past handouts on physical activity like the Exercises on the Go handout and see if you haven't been exercising, maybe some of those would work for you. Let's talk about weight loss a little bit. And on page 92 in your book, talks about how weight loss is a process and requires making and maintaining life changes. When looking for a weight loss plan or eating plan related to weight loss, you want to look for plans that focus on health, that aim for gradual weight loss, promote a variety of foods, teach you to include foods that you like, and encourage regular physical activity. Plans that I would suggest avoiding would be those that focus on the amount of weight loss, promise a very quick weight loss, limit food options, require you to eat special foods, and say that you don't have to exercise. Those who have been successful in maintaining weight loss have some things in common. 80% eat meals each morning. And I just remind people that even if you don't want to call your morning meal breakfast, you can include any other types of food in your morning meal other than just breakfast food. Also, 90% of people who have weight loss success are physically active each day for an average of about 60 minutes. And also, many record what they eat each day and weigh themselves regularly. I would encourage you, if you're trying to lose weight or even maintaining weight, to weigh yourself weekly. On page 93 in your book, there's an area that you can write down ways to increase your motivation to lose weight. In your group class, I'm sure they have shared ideas to help you increase your motivation. Hopefully, you will be able to write some of these things down in your book after class today that will help you increase your motivation and help you lose weight. Let's talk about, lastly for today, when life gets in the way and things happen. You know, we experience up and downs with managing our diabetes, and this is very common. Sometimes we are less motivated than at other times, and that is very normal. No one can do well all the time, and it's okay. Sometimes you will have difficulty staying motivated. And if so, what can you do? You know, you might even be worried or afraid about something. And if so, how can you alleviate these worries and being afraid? And then also, sometimes you may just feel a typical diabetes burnout. And if so, what can you do? Think about things you've done in the past to help you when life gets in the way. On page 115 in your book, there are feelings associated with diabetes burnout. If you identify with any of these challenges listed, talk to your healthcare team. Your team may refer you to a behavioral health professional to help you cope with these changes. It's very common that some people think that they don't really need help from family or friends and don't need help for supporting their diabetes. Support from family and friends activate us when we are stressed a lot of time. Family goals may seem unnecessary when things are going well, but if we practice them now, that helps protect our diabetes self-care routine when life gets in the way. Family goals are critical for those times when life gets in the way. Let's look at a couple examples. The next slide talks about Sam. He's the family chef, and he has diabetes. He went to diabetes education, learned what he needed to do to get better, and that was to eat more leafy green vegetables instead of starchy ones and avoid fried foods. He started making himself a green salad with every meal. He also grills his chicken and fries the chicken for his family. This works great. His numbers are good, and he has lost some weight. He has more energy too. His wife praises him for his hard work. And then, all of a sudden, Sam was given a big project at work. It could get him a promotion. He often works late and is very tired. The family gets takeout or someone else makes dinner. And Sam has gone to eating just what everyone else eats. He gains weight back, and his blood sugar is worse than before because of the stress combined with the poor food choices. He feels defeated and burned out with managing his diabetes while meeting the new demands at work. His family thinks he's grumpy, but they aren't sure how to help. Now, let's look at a second example. This example is Sally. Sally's the family chef, and she has diabetes. She went to diabetes education with her son, who is 19. Together, they learned about healthier choices. He wants to eat healthier too. So different from Sam, Sally had someone with her in her education process. They discussed how to change their diet and both searched for healthy recipes online to try. The whole family eats these new meals. Everyone is excited about it and has fun talking about different recipes. Sally's doctor gives good feedback on her progress. Then, Sally's mom gets diagnosed with cancer. Sally is helping her a lot. She gets home from her mom's house late at night, hungry and tired. Most night, her son and her daughter have cooked one of the new recipes and left her a plate in the fridge. Sally is stressed, exhausted, and worried about her mom, but she feels supported by her kids, and she's not worried about her diabetes. Her blood sugar results aren't concerning, and her weight is stable even during a stressful time. She can get through this and stay strong for her mom without damage to her own health. Now, let's compare the difference between Sam and Sally. You can see how Sam was doing really well with his goals before life got stressful. Even though his stress was good because he could get a promotion, it still got him off track and made it harder to live with diabetes. But Sally's family got on board with her goals, and she was protected during a big stressor because the entire family changed their routine. Here are some other things you can put into place now to help protect you in the future when you encounter stress. Things such as making physical activity part of the family routine. Do it together and get the benefit of laughing and talking plus the benefit of the exercise. You might make healthier food choices a fun social activity everyone gets involved in, such as finding recipes, cooking, sharing ideas. You could have a weekly date to plan the upcoming week together and then do something fun, watch a favorite show or have a cup of coffee. Also, developing a routine for medication adherence, such as refilling your pill boxes together, taking medicines together before bedtime. All these things can be good and be a way of supporting each other. That's the end of lesson for week 8. I would encourage you to keep working towards your goal and complete page 95 and 99 in your book. And for your next session, I would like for you to bring your Diabetes Basic book, your Emergency Diabetes Care Plan handout, and the sleep handout. Please meet with your educator in your Zoom meeting with your class at the next scheduled time. Hope you have a great week. Thank you.